Everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at Nio. Nio undercuts Tesla Model Y with the £24,000 Onvo L60 SUV for China. Chinese EV firm New Family Focus brand launches with an ultra-efficient battery swapping crossover. Now, I've spoken about this vehicle before. It is quite exciting what Nio has been doing and what they're launching, and I've explained it in a previous video. But today we want to go through a little bit of everything if I'm being completely honest. This is the first model from Nio New Family Focus EV brand Onvo, and it's a Tesla Model Y rival crossover that majors on practicality and efficiency. Now, one of my first impressions of this vehicle is that it looks very similar to a Polestar 4. Polestar 4 is essentially a crossover coupe electric SUV, which is very similar shape to this vehicle because it has the body of a sedan, yet it has the space on the interior of a mid-size coupe SUV. Again, very similar to a Model Y. Now, if you're curious about the Polestar 4, this is the vehicle I'm referring to. Again, the body of a sedan, yet it has the space of a small electric coupe SUV. I've been inside of one of these vehicles and I've been very much impressed with everything. And one thing that I can say for sure is that the suspension is the dead giveaway of this vehicle. The suspension being lower, this vehicle is more focused on performance. It obviously doesn't give the sense like it's a electric SUV. But the incredible thing I have to remind everyone is that when you look at the Model Y, that also doesn't really look like an SUV. It really doesn't. In fact, if we were to compare these two vehicles, this is the Model Y in the gray. In the white, that's the Model 3. You can see the Model Y very much looks like a bulky sedan. It has a sedan shape, yet the interior, the space gives you that SUV family vehicle. And that's very similar to what Polestar is offering with the Polestar 4. That's very similar to what Nio wants to offer with the Onvo L60. Now, I must say it's very smart by all of the brands to do such a thing. Now, the Model Y has a higher roof on the exterior at least. Interior-wise, I wouldn't have any clue. But exterior-wise, they made it as tall as possible to make sure that people get the idea that it's kind of like an SUV, like a small SUV. But it's essentially a coupe, if I'm being completely honest. It's an SUV coupe. And these vehicles are being more and more popular, more and more common amongst consumers. You can see the lights and the shapes, very similar to the Polestar 4. That's the Polestar 4. Those are the lights, those are the shapes on the side. Very similar vehicle. Similar shape with the Tesla Model Y, of course, but the difference is that Tesla has their own design language, Polestar has their own design language. Nio has a very different design language, but the Onvo is the affordable family brand. And it's genius that Nio is doing this. It is absolutely genius because I've already said this multiple times. Nio wants to offer premium vehicles. Nio wants to charge premium money for their vehicles. They want to sell their vehicles like their Audi, like their BMW, like their Mercedes. And what they do is something similar to what VW likes to do. They create a smaller brand, a more affordable family brand, and they sell you a more affordable vehicle. Basically with all of the included Nio technology. I imagine the interior will look very similar to a Nio. The charging infrastructure will be using Nio swappable batteries, which is incredible because Nio can build a family of fleet of vehicles and companies, and essentially you can still use the Nio infrastructure. And I believe Nio is the only vehicle company that's really going for swappable battery technology. It's absolutely incredible. And what I see from this vehicle, it's a little bit of the Model Y with a little bit of the Polestar 4. And to a certain extent is genius. Now this is called the L60. It's due on sale in China from September at a starting price of equivalent to £24,000, undercutting its chief rival by notable margins. There's no word yet on plans to bring the Onvo brand to the UK, but the L60 would probably be priced around £40,000 if it came here to achieve a more comparable cost gap. But remember, this vehicle can always be lowered in price to match consumer demand, just like existing Tesla models are being. The price competitiveness is still going on, known as the price war. It's still going on. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't slowed. Nio's definitely bringing the ET5 to the UK market quite soon. I believe that's supposed to be this year. I want to hear more development on that. The Nio space that's coming to UK, the Nio charging infrastructure or swapping infrastructure that's coming to the UK. I want to hear more information on that because I live in the UK. I want to test drive an ET5. I want an ET5 to have a proper test drive. I've only sat in this vehicle. I haven't driven it at all, to be honest, but I love the experience. If the Onvo is anything close to what Nio can offer, I will be happy, even more happy with what they're doing with the Onvo brand. It's a great idea. Even from the sides, it looks like a Urus. It looks like a Lamborghini Urus. I only kid. Maybe, maybe not. So Onvo, previously known as the codename Alp. It's the first two of new EV brands being launched by the fast-growing group Nio. The other code name, Firefly, is expected to launch with a more affordable, compact EV design with a specific focus on European market. Now, ladies and gents, understand something. I literally said if Nio creates a family brand, a family of multiple EV brands, a family of multiple EV companies, they can all use Nio infrastructure and they can all target different markets at different prices. What Nio is doing will be studied for years to come. This company has incredible technology, incredible infrastructure, and they're utilizing it to make sure that they can offer you a vehicle in every and any segment. Whatever vehicle you want, Nio will have a competitor ready. Now, the L60 showcase how Onvo will target family buyers in the lower premium segment with a overt focus on interior space, safety, and utility. What did I say earlier? These vehicles, the Polestar 4, Model Y, the Onvo L60, these vehicles have the shape, exterior of a sedan, but the interior space of an SUV. What did it say there? They want to focus on interior space, safety and utility. Interior space. Understand, people want to buy these vehicles more if they're slightly higher off the ground with a bit more space for family. Even if it's based on the design of a sedan, just like the Model Y, similar to the Model 3, or similar to the Model X, which is the big SUV by Tesla. And many people already suggest that the Model X is not a real SUV. A lot of people suggest that because it doesn't take the same shape or form factor as a traditional SUV. But this is the way companies are doing things now because guess what? They need to be aero efficient. Companies like Tesla will do anything to optimize for aero efficiency because it's key. Longer range, more sales. Longer range, happier customers. Now it claims a significant advantage over the Model Y in being equipped with 900-volt electric architecture for ultra-rapid charging and will be equipped with a choice of 3 BYD supply battery packs offering 344, 454, or 620 miles of range. This is according to the Chinese CLTC test cycle. It says the Chinese generous CLT test cycle. I don't know if that's being genuine or if that's outright sarcasm. Anyway, let's continue. The L60 is also more efficient, more than the Model Y. Nio claims with a consumption rating of 5.1 miles per kilowatt. Nio claims the L60 is the most aerodynamic, efficient SUV on the market with a drag coefficient of 0.229 CD. I don't know what CD mean. If you do, let me know in the comments below. Seriously, I'm curious. Full dimensions remain under wraps, but the Chinese companies said short overhang maximized space in the cabin with ingenious storage design. Every occupant can bring along their own luggage. The L60 is equipped with the same advanced driver assistant functions as Nio's own EVs. It's also compatible with the firm's trademark battery swap stations, meaning it can gain a fully charged battery in just 3 minutes at more than 1,000 sites across China, as well as being able to top up conveniently at 25,000 of Nio's own public chargers. Nio has 25,000 plus chargers in China, 1,000 plus swappable battery sites in China. That's incredibly impressive. Now, this is the Nio ET5. This article was published on the 29th September 2023. Now, the thing is that it says that the ET5 is due to arrive, inevitably, that it will happen in 2025 in the UK. I was under the impression that it would be 2024 this year, but perhaps I was wrong. That's unfortunate. And that probably makes sense because we're now in May and I haven't heard any news of this vehicle coming to the UK this year, which was starting to get quite, unexciting. But if I'm being honest, in the image, this is the Neo ET5 Estate. This is not the normal Neo ET5. So there's two different ET5s. There's this one, the Estate, the one with it's a wagon essentially, but a luxurious performance wagon essentially. And there's the normal sedan hatchback, similar to like a Model 3 or a Polestar 2 design. That was said to be coming to the UK this year, 2024, so maybe that's still planned. Now, on the other hand, it begs the question, when is Nio, Onvo, and the other Nio brands that are to come, when will those vehicles be going to the US? It's a huge question. You have Tesla competing heavily in China, yet you don't really have any Chinese companies competing heavily in the US. You've got a little bit, but you don't really have a lot of competition in that area. And to be honest, because of the high concentration of EV companies in China, they're all aiming to outcompete each other. And with this being said, you get in more manufacturers that are getting involved in this EV electric age, making vehicles, including smartphone company Xiaomi. In late March, entered the electric car market with the SU7 sedan to rival the Tesla Model 3 with a price that was also about 4,000 cheaper, $4,000 to be exact. Xiaomi said recently it had delivered over 10,000 SUV. Xiaomi said recently that it has delivered over 10,000 SU7 vehicles. This is quite remarkable. You got to understand, this is a cell phone company. And if these numbers are to be correct, they're delivering more vehicles than Lucid. That's very interesting. Very interesting. No matter how you take that, that's very interesting. BYD, which sold more cars than Elon Musk's automaker last year when including hybrids. They mostly sell cars in the range of $13,851 or below. BYD has started to expand into higher price segments in the last few years. This article says mostly sells vehicles under $13,000. Now, we don't know how accurate that is because we haven't checked the data. And as we know, data can often be manipulated. I'm not saying it is, I'm saying I have to check the data to know that it's not manipulated. Now, Nio's CEO, Lee, confirms to CNBC that the L60 is using lower priced batteries from BYD, and this is very much crucial. If batteries can be manufactured for a cheaper cost, the electric vehicles will become a lot more affordable. And that ultimately is one of the most important things right now to compete in the EV market. But a lot of people are also investing in these electric vehicles for longevity. They want to keep these things for a while with full reliability. In terms of the European stamp of approval, Nio is still rolling out in the European region, but have they gotten that stamp of approval yet from consumers? I would say no. There still hasn't been enough time for people in Europe to buy these vehicles and to fully realize if these vehicles suit their lifestyle and if it suits their every need. Now, that's a tough market to crack because they have strong competition in Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Polestar, Volvo. The list continues. So it's not an easy market to beat when you're telling these peoples to not invest in their own vehicle brand. You got French companies that are making French electric vehicles, Peugeot, Renault. You got the German companies, you got the Swedish companies. You've even got British companies such as Mini, which is now owned by BMW, a German company. But the point is there is competition, not as strong as China, but there is competition. And I think the Chinese company brands like Nio, Xiaomi, BYD, they're absolutely ready for this competition, and I have a feeling they will do incredibly well. Now, in other statements, the chief executive William Li introduced the Onvo L60 in Shanghai, saying the company aims to take on Toyota Motors. This is by providing family cars that balance customer experience and ownership costs. So they want to make it more cost effective and more suiting for the family lifestyle. Family lifestyle specifically for people who probably have maybe 2 or 3 kids, or maybe just have one kid, but they're looking for more affordable EVs. This is the segment that they're going after, and there must be a market there. There must be a market right there for them to go for that. Now, in terms of the other brand, Firefly, that Neo's also working on, that brand might be the complete opposite. It could either be even significantly cheaper than Onvu, or it could be the entire opposite, closer to like Nio and Porsche, closer to like Porsche and Lucid, like really expensive vehicles, like 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand, those kind of price range. And if I'm being completely honest, if the technology is good and the car is reliable, then long term, those brands could do very well. You definitely see Polestar going after the Porsche, side of business, and that seems to be working very well for Polestar so far. And they've only got one vehicle. Now, by August, September, October, they'll have two new vehicles, the Polestar 2, the Polestar 3, and Polestar 4. And those will do even more incredibly well for the Polestar company, which is why I'm predicting that Polestar will have an incredible year in 2025, which is the exact year that they're hoping to become, I would say, cash flow break even. You've heard them mention it many times in statements. Cash flow break even is a target for Polestar right now, especially for 2025. And as we currently sit, they're currently getting more funding to make sure that this becomes a reality. So this is where I'll end this video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to see more. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in our next video. Peace.